All right, now moving on to WeFarm. It is a farmer-to-farmer digital network that allows cross-knowledge sharing among farmers. It is giving them a platform to access farming information, tips, and share ideas from other farmers through basic mobile phones and SMS. Joining me in studio today is Jamila Abbas, the country manager Kenya for WeFarm, to tell us more. Thank you so much for joining us, Jamila.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's begin with, the fact that approximately 90% of smallholder farmers in rural areas are reported to only have access to basic mobile phone features and not smartphones, which of course agricultural apps and things would be able to be downloaded on those. Yeah. But the fact that they only have the basic mobile phones and not the smartphones, how does WeFarm tackle this, and what is the uptake?
Thank you so much for having me. Just to begin with the uptake and, the kind of network that WeFarm has, we have 1.3 million across Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And with WeFarm, we utilize the basic, simple SMS tool where farmers are able to send their questions and the struggles that they're having at their farm level. And they're able to get answers from other farmers in our network.
Okay. Yep. So it's a purely text-based
It's purely text-based, and a lot of rural farmers who don't have access either to internet or having also smartphones can access. But what is also more important is the cost of SMS sometimes for apps, other apps, agricultural apps, could be prohibitive. Mm-hmm. With WeFarm, it's free. Farmer can send as many questions and receive as many answers as possible without having any interference with the airtime.
So you don't, there are no charging fees, which is baffling me, because then how do you manage your costs and continue operations?
Well, we have been really lucky to be supported by a lot of, prestigious venture farm investors from across the world, some in the Silicon Valley, some in Europe.
Okay.
One notably will be True Ventures, and they believe in the fact that WeFarm eventually will get to a point where we commercialize our value-added services in terms of connecting farmers holistically to people who are selling high-quality, affordable inputs, at the same time creating market for the farmers, be able to have insights for governments, NGOs, and people who want to understand farmers holistically. So for us, the initial starting point is getting the farmers the critical information that they need to better manage the farms, but at the same time give them the voice that they require, because we have millions of farmers in this country who are unheard and supported, and they're completely disconnected. As you said, 90% of the smallholder farmers don't have access to all this information that they require to really manage their farms. Where WeFarm comes in is creating a platform that is free, accessible, and easy to use at the comfort of their homes, so that we can bring the voices of the farmers to the center of attention and make them part of the solution rather than, giving them solutions from top down. So the farmers are able to give the solutions to the network.
So I've heard you say that you're connected with various institutions from Silicon Valley and other sorts of, international investors, I believe. So where exactly was this developed then?
Well, WeFarm is headquartered in the UK.
Okay.
We have branch offices in Kenya and Uganda.
All right.
And our operations run in East Africa currently, but we are beyond just 1.3 million users. As you may know, we have more than 500 million smallholder farmers across the world, mm-hmm. and we are targeting to grow to hundreds of millions across the continent, at least, have a 25% market share from all these underserved farmers, and give them free access to vital information that will increase their productivity, their yield, and also make them heroes in their own right, where the expertise are heard.
Okay, and we always say agriculture is the backbone of the country, and like you said, by now you've reached about 1.3 million users across Kenya and Uganda, with plans to expand, I believe, to the rest of Africa as well. Yep. So from the farmers currently using the app, what are the main areas in which they face challenges based on the queries they post? What are the most popular questions centered around that they have difficulties with?
Well, the questions range depending on the value chain that the farmers are in. Our most popular would be maize, dairy, and chicken, okay. And especially the most sensitive, value chains like tomatoes with blights and people struggling to manage diseases in the farms and figuring out how to deal with that. So it will be disease control, pest control, things that will make farmer at risk that they need to get ahead of and therefore reduce the risk of losing either the crop or the animals on the farm level.
So we have seen, of course, diseases like necrosis, erode quite a few yields and things like that. So when we talk about government bodies that are responsible to bring this information to farmers or to help them, do they also play a role in the answers? Is it only connecting farmers to farmers or also such institutions to the smallholder farmers?
So our first priority at WeFarm is we believe that farmers have generations worth of expertise that they have gotten either from their parents or from practice on the farm level. So our first priority is to give the farmer that voice and connect them with each other so that they can benefit from actual practical information that they have gained over the years. That's our first priority. However, we don't limit anyone from joining the network because, as you may know, most extension service workers in the country will be living in rural areas, and they will also be more likely to become farmers themselves, and they also have the knowledge. You would see agrovets who also run their own farms, and they have the knowledge and agricultural expertise to bring to the table. But for WeFarm, it's purely peer-to-peer, and that peer is not necessarily only the farmer. So we are not exclusive, but we encourage the farmers to be the center and the voice.
Okay, and that's interesting because, like you said, there are a lot of people who decide that farming is their side hustle. They have it there as much as they might have a corporate job. And for you to say that, you have a wealth of peers with so much rich experience on the platform to connect both of these new and old, people who are already within this industry is, I think, commendable. So thank you so much for joining me, Jamila.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that was Jamila Abbas, Country Manager Kenya for WeFarm, telling us about that particular app that connects farmers, not just in Kenya, but across the region as well. And they're going to be further expanding it too. But that actually brings our time to an end. Yes, it's time for us to close up the show. Thank you so much for joining me on Business Today. Do stay with us for our subsequent bulletins right here on KTN News. My name is Malika Kazia, wishing you a wonderful afternoon.